והוא ישמיענו ורחמיו שנית שני לעיני כל חי שני לעיני כל חי להיות לכם לוקים. Bezat Hashem, the shiur should be L'Refuat Morenu V'Rabbeinu Harav Menachem Yoshua ben Leah Rezel V'Achola Shlomit Bat Chaya B'toch Kol Shar Cholei Yisrael. So when we enter into Parashat Vayikra, into Sefer Vayikra, we have an incredible opportunity to open up a concept that we've already seen before throughout the Torah, but never in as much depth as Sefer Vayikra in general and Parshot Vayikra and Tzav in specific deal with. And what they deal with is something called Korban. But before we go into the Sefat Emet, to understand a very, very important idea behind the Korban, I want to start where we left off in Sefer Shemot. Sefer Shemot, we finished with 5 parashot that deal with the building of the Mishkan. And as we said last week in Parashat Pikudei, the ending of Sefer Shemot is V'lo yachal Moshe lavo el ohel moed. And the moment after the Torah says Moshe was prevented to enter into the Mishkan, we open up Sefer Vayikra. And we open up Sefer Vayikra with the Korbanot. And in Parshat Shmini we end with Hashem revealing Himself to Am Yisrael, enabling Am Yisrael to connect again to Hashem. And a question that we have to ask ourselves is, what was missing in Shemot that was added in Sefer Vayikra that enabled Hashem to reveal Himself to the world? And I think if we think about the ending of Sefer Shemot and we look into what is emphasized in the Mishkan, the one thing that is most felt is the kelim, the bgadim. We all see how much they deal with the kiyor, with the shulchan, with the aron, with the ephod, with the tzitz. But something that was kind of on the side were the place of the korbanot. True, we find korbanot in Sefer Shemot, but they're korbanot that only relate to the Kohanim. But Sefer Vayikra adds something new. The korbanot versus the kelim. If the ending of Shemot is about the kelim, the beginning of Vayikra is about the korbanot. And the question is, what is the difference between the kelim and the korbanot? And I think the kelim is Hashem saying, I believe in you, although you have sinned. I'm giving you a present. I'm enabling you to create my presence in the world through the different vessels in the Mishkan. But what's lacking, what's missing in the end of Sefer Shemot is the place of Am Yisrael. No one in Am Yisrael has any relation to the Shulchan or to the Aron or to the Menorah. The only relation Am Yisrael consistently have with the Mishkan is the Korbanot. And Sefer Vayikra adds the place of Am Yisrael, and only then can Hashem reveal himself to the world. Because he isn't revealed through the avodah of the Kohanim or the presence that he gives to the world, but through the fact that all of Am Yisrael can participate, can be included in the revelation of Hashem. And so even before understanding the Korbanot, we see that the Korban itself puts Am Yisrael into the Mishkan. And then, in the end of Parshat Shmini, we'll see Hashem reveal himself to the world, because Am Yisrael are a part of the building, and not only the Kohanim. So after this opening idea of, in general, how we could see the beginning of Sefer Vayikra, I want to try to understand through the Sefat Emet a simple idea behind what does a Korban truly mean. And to understand the Sefat Emet, he brings in Rashi and Vayikra Perek Aleph Pasuk Bet. And the Pasuk says, Daber el b'nei Yisrael ve'amarta elehem Adam ki yakriv mikem korban la'Hashem. A very powerful opening to all of the korbanot. Adam ki yakriv. So Rashi wants to understand, why is it important for the pasuk to bring in this word Adam? Because when we'll look in Perek Bet, we'll see Nefesh ki yakriv. And here the pasuk specifies the name Adam. Says Rashi, Adam, lama ne'emar. Why does it say the word Adam? Ma Adam harishon lo hekriv min hagezel. Same way Adam harishon did not bring a korban through theft. Af atem lo takrivu min hagezel. So Rashi says the word Adam in the opening of Sefer Vayikra brings us straight back to Gan Eden. And it brings us straight back to Perek Bet, where it says, V'lo tov heyot ha'adam levado. It's not good for man to be by himself. And right after that, what does Hashem do? He introduces man with the animals. Vayikra ha'adam labehemot shemot. When Adam meets the animals, he starts realizing his purpose in the world. This relationship between the Adam and the Behemah already starts in Gan Eden. And that's why Rashi says Sefer Vayikra starts with the word Adam to show us that the Korban is a place where man truly understands his ability and purpose in the world. So says the Sefat Emet, in 1875, Birashi Adam lama ne'emar, ma Adam lo ekriv min hagezel. And so the Sefat Emet really wants to understand, other than the fact that Rashi relates between the Adam and the Behemah, what's this idea of Gezel? What is Rashi trying to say when he says that Adam did not bring a korban through theft, so you do not bring your korban through theft? Why is that the opening? Why is that the relationship between Adam and Behemah? So before the Sefat Emet answers this question, he brings in a question that we must ask ourselves when we try and understand the idea of korbanot. And he says, Umat ta'am yihiyeh mechupar benefesh behema. A very incredible question by the Sefat Emet. He says, what is a korban? Do you really think that you sinned in the world? That you hurt someone's feelings? That you stole from a person? That you made the world imperfect? And you're going to bring a big cow, slaughter it, and whoa! Kapara. Where does that come from? And it's not only a question the Sefat Emet brings from himself, but if we look in all the Nevi'im, they would yell to Am Yisrael, Mali rov zivchechem. Do you really think korban equals kapara? Do you really think that your ability to pull a cow into Beit HaMikdash, slaughter it and put the blood on the Mizbeach creates kapara? The answer is obviously no. It can't just be that the korban itself is kapara. So what is the korban all about? Says the Sefat Emet, Rak mitzad sheha'adam mamshich chayut lekol haba'alei chayim shehu lemala mehem. The Sefat Emet says if we look in the world has different levels. There's domem, something that has no life, rocks, sand. The next level is tzomeach, flowers, trees. The next level is chai, something living, that has blood, that has a soul, that has a mind. But the highest level is the midaber. What differentiates man and a behemah is one thing: the ability to talk, to be a midaber, to add meaning. So why does Adam HaRishon in Gan Eden koreh shemot? Because that's where he realizes his true ability in the world. The animal lives, the animal could prosper the same way man could prosper. But the animal cannot speak, and Adam can. Adam could bring more meaning into the world. And the Sefat Emet is so connected to the Pshat. Because how does Pasuk Bet open up? Daber el bnei Yisrael ve'amarta elehem. The Pasuk specifies twice the ability of speech, daber, ve'amarta. That is what makes the Adam ki akriv. The korban is not itself a kapara. But the Sefat Emet says your ability to uplift an animal, to give it meaning, to bring it to the Mikdash, to give it a specific meaning in a chatat, in a olah, in a asham. All of this means that the action itself has no meaning. Your ability to bring a korban to the Beit HaMikdash means nothing to the Mikdash, it means nothing to God, it means nothing to you. But if you're capable of realizing the difference between you and the behema, then you start learning your ability to make the world different, to perfect a world that is imperfect. And says the Sefat Emet, Aval ha'adam ha'prati im eino b'madrigat medaber But if someone does not use his ability, and his ability as defined by Dibur, then Yetush Kadamcha. Says the Sefat Emet, in the creation of the world, the Behema is created before man. Because man that does not use his ability is worse than the Behema. Says the Sefat Emet miraculously, Im ken nikra gzela, ma shemevin nefesh ba'al chai litkaper bo. He says, what is Rashi saying when he's saying that you didn't bring the korban from Gezel? He's saying Adam HaRishon understood that when I bring a korban, it's not about the action of bringing an animal. It's about relating and reflecting to myself, who am I and what am I? And if that reflection, the answer to that reflection is that you're not a medaber, is that you're not realizing that you could uplift the animal, you're stealing, Rashi says. You're creating gezel because you had the ability to uplift the animal and you stole his opportunity by you not becoming the person who you could become. And so you stole the korban. You stole the kapara. I think what the Sefat Emet is saying is one very, very important lesson about what happens when the world is imperfect and bad. When we see things go wrong. And I know, for me personally, the experience this week, being at the Levaya of one of the most influential people I've ever met in my life, of Ilan Toker, here in Eretz Yisrael in Beit Shemesh. I stood there and listened to all the espedim of his ima, his abba, his sister, his brother-in-law. I had the opportunity to talk to both his brothers after the Levaya. And walking away from the funeral, I truly felt the world broken. It's truly almost impossible to understand what is this in the world. How does a 26-year-old suddenly just pass away and not accomplish so many of the dreams that he wanted to accomplish? Although we know, the people who knew him in the 26 years, he accomplished more than most of any of us will ever do. But the one voice I heard from his family was that when things break, you build. The korban, you would think, means that if something is bad, then I break more. I shecht an animal and I slaughter and I do an action of taking away life, of taking away ability. Says the Sefat Emet, the korban is only about one thing. When things break down, the only thing you could do is keep building. Things will break, things will fall, things will go wrong. And at those times, some of us want to relate to a korban as a continuing reflection of that place of breaking the reality. Says the Sefat Emet, if you think that's the korban, you're stealing from the world. Because the korban is not about taking away life, but it's about uplifting the world. It's about realizing the more potential and ability you have. And I think, knowing Ilan Toker, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, he taught me in his life that a korban means that it doesn't matter where you are. If you're in a camp with campers, if you're in the army, if you're in university, wherever you are, Your mindset is, where am I uplifting the world? Where am I perfecting a world? And I think as we started the shir, we said that Sefer Vayikra brings in the concept that only through Am Yisrael together can Hashem be revealed. But through Rashi and the Sefat Emet and one of the first psukim about the korbanot, Adam ki akriv, I think we learned one lesson. That the korban is bringing us back to Gan Eden, to a place where man realizes his potential to be a midaber and to take things in the world like a behemah, which might be on a low level, and take it to the highest places in the world. Our bracha to all of Am Yisrael is that, first of all, Yivulah hamavet lanetzach, u'macha Hashem dim'ah, that we won't have to learn through tears and through pain, but through a personality of one of the biggest tzaddikim that I've met. We should all be zocheh. When things break and when things go wrong, to ask ourselves, where can we start rebuilding? The way the Korban teaches us, the way we relate to our chata'im, the way we relate to the things that go wrong in the world, is by uplifting things and by rebuilding new buildings. And we should be zocheh to mamash see the true uplifting of the world through the bniyah of Beit HaMikdash and through the korbanot of behemot and never through the korbanot of Adam. Shabbat Shalom.